Live from the Slightly Twisted Deck Bar, it's the Poojie Podcast with Justin Lemire.
Welcome, longtime Jacksonville Jaguar, former NFL kicker, avid golfer, current golfer, Josh Scobee, onto the show. Thanks for being here, Josh.
Hey, thanks for having me, buddy.
Yeah, for sure. So I know a lot of crazy things are going on now, a lot of downtime going on. How are you and the family kind of handling everything? Everything going well on your end?
Yeah, I think we're making it work for us. I mean, fortunately, with where we are in Jacksonville and the good weather we've had and the friends that we have in our neighborhood, I mean, we've been able to do a lot of things while maintaining, the status quo of social distancing and just being smart about everything. And so it hasn't been as bad as a lot of people, I'm sure, have had it. So we're very fortunate with the resources we have.
For sure. Have you been finding some time to go out and play a little golf here and there when you can, or?
A little golf would be putting it mildly. Luckily, our course is still open, and they're adhering to all the proper procedures that you need right now, in terms of keeping hands off of everything and sanitizing everything. So yeah, I've pretty much gone out every day, but Mondays the course is not open and played, and taken my 8-year-old with me. So he's gotten a whole lot better at golf the last 3 weeks, and it's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. Definitely some difficult times, but obviously a good way to spend some more quality time, obviously, with family. So good to hear you're doing that. But want to get in real quick to kind of your experience in the NFL, your history of kicking and stuff. You had mentioned to me earlier before we started recording that you're from Texas. Is that kind of where your kicking career started? How did that all come to be?
It was all very random. Yes, I'm from Texas. I was born and raised in Northeast Texas, kind of where we are in Florida, like the Northeast corner of Texas. And I played everything but football and basketball growing up. I played soccer, baseball, street hockey. I ran track. I did all of everything but playing football, basketball, and golf, essentially. And so football just came up randomly. Going into my senior year of high school, I went out to kick field goals with a friend of mine who was the kicker during my junior year and his senior year, and he was going to go walk on at Stephen F. Austin University in Texas. And he asked me to just go kick footballs with him one day at our high school practice field. And it happened to be during two-a-days of our high school football teams going into my senior year. So the head coach was walking out to practice and saw us on the practice field. And I was kicking like 55 or 60 yarders at the time, just because, I didn't know any better. And I was just trying to kick it as far as I could. And he walked over and, to say hi to my buddy who was practicing and trying to walk on, and asked me who I was and what grade I was in, and told him I was going into my senior year. And he asked me if I wanted to play for the team. So I said, sure, when are tryouts? And he said that I didn't have to try out, that I if I wanted to come to practice tomorrow, I would be their kicker. So that kind of blew my mind. So I went home and told my mom what the coach had told me. I went out to practice that next morning, had no idea what I was doing. And luckily there's my missed field goal right there behind you. How about that? That's just unbelievable. Good timing.
It was the wind.
There was no wind that night. But anyway, so he luckily gave me the job as a starting kicker. And only 3 or 4 weeks in, I started getting scholarship offers. And it was honestly just being in the right position in the right place at the right time. And I got extremely fortunate to get a scholarship offer from Louisiana Tech, and that's what I took, and it got me here.
That's awesome. That's a great start to the kicking career for sure. And I guess from your experience with meeting other NFL kickers, does it seem like that's kind of how it starts a lot with them? It's just kind of like a random, soccer into football kind of deal. Like, how does that work for most of your friends that kick?
Yeah, a lot of guys that are my age or, even a little bit older, they didn't start kicking footballs or playing football until they were older. because it's not something that you just grow up doing unless your dad was a kicker, or you had a relative that was a kicker, or you followed someone that was a kicker. So it's not something that you just naturally do. So most soccer players, or kickers for that matter, were soccer players, just because you need to have that development of your leg muscles just to be able to kick a football. It's not like a random person could just walk off the street and have that leg strength to kick, 50, 60-yard field goals. So I would say 99% of NFL kickers had a soccer background, and just like I did. So, in fact, I've talked to Sebastian Janikowski. He was the same way. He didn't start kicking field goals until his senior year of high school in Daytona. And a lot of guys were like that. We were just athletes that randomly picked up field goal kicking, and it worked out well.
That's awesome. And I know you pointed out the game going on in the back. I guess the end of this game was an extremely good moment for you. But in your opinion, what was your most memorable kick or moment as a Jaguar here in Jacksonville?
I mean, everyone's going to come up to me, or it seems like that's what's going to happen, but everyone comes up to me and just to talk about, hey, that 59-yard field goal in 2010. And I think that was probably my most memorable moment, like a single moment. It wasn't my best game just because I only had one field goal and 4 extra points. So, but still, that was definitely the most memorable moment of my career, just because it was my longest field goal. It was, 1 second left to beat a division rival. And it was a lot of fun because I had a lot of friends and family at that game just randomly that were in town. So they got to experience that with me and, go out to dinner that next night or that night and enjoy it with a bunch of teammates and their families. And yeah, so I have a lot of memorabilia from that game in my golf. So that's like my main picture. And then I have, the news article from that and then pictures from it. So, I try to tell people, yes, that was my most memorable moment as a Jaguar, but I did have a lot better games than just that one.
Yeah, I think I remember either watching or reading about you had a 350-plus yard game. You had 3 field goals, and you and only like 3 or 4 other kickers have done it.
Yeah, it was a Monday night game in 2011 against Baltimore, and I had, I think, 2 54-yarders and a 51-yarder, or maybe the other way around. But yeah, it was a very boring Monday night football game for everyone watching but me, because I think the final score was 12-7, and I had all of the points and had 3 over 50, which is still tied for an NFL record. I'm sure someone will break it one day, but it was a really fun game for me.
That's awesome. And I guess when you walk out there for a 50-yard field goal, or some players are kicking it 60-plus now. I guess in your experience, what's the pressure like? Like, what are your nerves like when you walk out there for a kick of, maybe in a high pressure moment or just of extreme length? Like, what are the nerves like? Are you pretty well prepared for it? Is it just normal for you? How does that go?
I think it's pretty normal for most people, or for most kickers, because, as a kicker, you want to be able to show off. And that's basically what you're doing every time you go out there. You're standing on the sideline for so long in games and in practice, where no one's watching you do it. And all your work is done on a practice field or at the net during the game. So whenever you go out on the field, you want to show off. So getting a long field goal opportunity like that allows you to show off. So there shouldn't be a lot of pressure as you're actually attempting the field goal. You should be excited for it. And that's the way that I tried to approach it. And that's why I had a lot of success on longer field goals.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, that definitely makes sense. Kind of like a 10-foot putt for a professional golfer becomes a little bit more high pressure, but they don't seem to sweat it too much when it's the last hole on the Masters. So yeah,
that's why they make a lot more of those than the average golfer does, because they're wanting to impress people, and when they do make it, they don't act like it's a surprise to them. They act like they've been there before, and it's no big deal. And why we're all shocked whenever people, those pro golfers make it, and why we're not surprised as average golfers when we miss them.
That's true. And I guess my next question for you, it's kind of interesting. You were in Jacksonville for, I think, 10, maybe 11 seasons.
11.
It's not too often that a kicker becomes the fan favorite of a lot of the teams. How was that for you, handling that, I guess, at training camps or after games and stuff? Being a Jaguars fan from pretty much my family moving to Jacksonville, we knew your name from the very beginning. And what was that like for you, I guess, as a player with all these other, position players, running backs, but people wanted to talk to you and get your autograph and pictures with you? How was that as a kicker?
Oh, I loved it just because, I'm a people person, number one, and I like to interact with people on whether it's social media or just in general, just out in the public. So I embraced it and loved it. Number two, it probably wasn't a great thing that I was considered, the most popular or whatever, just because of how poor the records were for us. So you kind of had to take it with a grain of salt, just knowing that, we don't have too many players that are doing well right now. I think, we probably only had a handful of guys that you could name from the years that I played that actually did some good things and maybe went on to another team to do good things with them too. So, but I really enjoyed it. And that's why I made Jacksonville our home with my family now, because the city embraced me and treated me so well and showed me so much love that, it made me want to make this home for good.
And it's a pretty good golf spot too. So you got a lot of courses to pick from up here, right? So
yeah, that was helpful in that decision making. Yeah. That's for sure.
Gotcha. Well, I guess as far as golf goes, is there any particular course that you enjoy playing here in town more than others, or what would your top 3 courses be for any particular person out in Jacksonville to go out and play?
I love where I live, which is Deerwood Country Club. And so I play here, like I was telling you, a ton lately just because of what's going on. So it's a course that I don't really get tired of playing. If it were a boring course, then I would definitely get tired of playing it every day. But I do have like my top 5 courses that I like to play in Jacksonville that aren't Deerwood. It's probably like a maybe 50, 60 mile radius is what I, try to put it out, just because of how big this surrounding area is. Timaquana Country Club is my favorite in Jacksonville, other than Deerwood, because it's a very unique golf course. It's always in great condition. It's not like any other Florida golf course, just because there's very few ponds and, basically, any type of water to get in trouble with, because typically Florida golf courses, you're going to have a lot of water, a lot of ponds, marsh area, but that one is not like it. So that it's my favorite for a lot of reasons. But I'd say there, I love the Ponte Vedra Inn and Club Ocean Course. It's closed right now because they were doing a renovation. So I'm excited to see where they're at whenever they reopen it. I love King and Bear out at the World Golf Village. And really a hidden gem is, it might be outside that 50, 60 mile radius, but it's down near Palm Coast, the Creek course down there. And it might be the best course in Florida. It's just immaculate. It's so good. Let's see, other than that in here, I love San Jose Country Club. I used to be a member there. It's just a shorter, fun course to play. If you hit the ball well off the tee, then you're going to score well. Let's see, number 5 might be, I obviously love TPC Sawgrass. It's obviously an iconic course, and every time you play it, you get nervous just because you've watched it so many times on TV, and you try to hit shots that you've seen people do on TV, and you end up screwing up, especially when you get around 16, 17, and 18. But, there's so many good courses here in the area that makes it hard to leave this area. And people ask me why I don't, you know, my wife actually asks me this all the time. Like, why don't you want to go over to Scotland, Ireland to play those courses? I mean, it's because we have so many good courses here in this area, and just a small radius that we can play that makes it why, you know, we retired here.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I play over at Cimarron over there off 210.
Oh, yeah.
And I like getting feedback on other courses in the area just because, you know, I play there so frequently that I like to kind of expand and go check places out. So I'll definitely have to.
Well, yeah, you have a good spot over there in that 210 area with how many good courses are right just there on 210.
Yeah. 3 courses there. They play the 210 Cup. I've never played in it, but I know the country clubs, they have a little tournament that they do throughout the year.
Oh, that's great.
Pretty cool. I guess as far as golf goes, was golf something you always played, or was it something you picked up once you got into the NFL, or how did that work for you?
Yeah, golf was another thing like football that I started playing at a later age. In fact, I mean, I played a few times growing up, but really not very much. I never had my own set of clubs or anything. But when I got into the NFL, it was actually the first thing that I bought with my first paycheck was a set of clubs. And I just bought some old Callaway used irons and used drivers and 3-woods, and started taking lessons at David Gates' golf store on Southside, and just fell in love with it. And the reason being was we had so many charity functions during that first summer that I was here in 2004 that I just fell in love with it. I really enjoyed, you know, the competition and trying to get better each and every day. And I started out, you know, probably shooting a little over 100, and then every year tried to just, you know, get it down and down and down, and eventually got to the point where I am now. And that's why I've loved golf so much. It's a sport that you can never master, but you can try to get as good as you possibly can at. And it's something that you might be good today and bad tomorrow, or vice versa. But it's a never-ending challenge of trying to be better than you were the day before. Oh, this is good timing in the background here.
The game winner right there. The game winner. By Josh Scobee.
That area that I was kicking on right there, the 15-yard line, was trampled down, garbage. It might look better on TV, like it looks like there's actual grass there, but it was pure dirt and like a slip and slide. So
yeah, you can kind of tell between the hash marks.
Yeah, you can tell a little bit, but TV makes it look a whole lot better just because of, you know, how they can manipulate the colors and whatnot. But my gosh, that was even a 25-yarder. It wasn't easy, just because I was afraid that if my plant foot misses at all, I'm going to slip and fall.
Would you say like rain, snow, strong wind? What would you say is the worst conditions to kick in?
That's by far the wind. I mean, what we say in kicking and golf is wind is the biggest factor. I mean, you can have a calm day, 0 wind, and the ball, you know, and it raining for football, and it's easy to kick. And you could have a completely blue sky day with it extremely windy, and it's going to be much more difficult. And same with golf. So yeah, anytime the wind is down, kickers are going to make kicks and golfers are going to shoot low scores. Gotcha.
Well, that's all I really have for this interview, and I definitely appreciate you jumping on. Was there anything else that you wanted to say to everyone, or anything that you have going on just in this downtime, I guess?
I'm just doing a lot to reach out to random people and try to show some love to people, and because we're all in this isolation, no matter what situation you're in. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to have my wife and 2 kids with me that we can occupy our time with a lot of fun stuff, but a lot of people aren't in that situation. So I'm trying to reach out to people that might not be in that same situation as we are, and just show some love and make some people smile and go from there.
That's what it's all about. Well, Josh, I appreciate it again. Thanks for doing this. And maybe one of these days, once this all passes, we'll have to get out and play some golf sometime. All right, man?
Yeah, let's do it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.